Meet the most unguardable college football players ever. College football has always been about big plays, the insane athletes, and the jaw-dropping performances that leave fans shouting, "Did you see that?" But there's a select group of players who took this to another level. These are the athletes who made defenders look like they were stuck in quicksand, who turned defenders' dreams of stopping them into nightmares, and who are remembered as truly unguardable. Whether it was an impossible catch, a move that left defenders clutching at air, or a performance so dominant that you just knew nothing could stop them, these guys turned college football into their personal playground.
And that's where they come, battling. Oh what a grab! God. What a highlight! Io Manor! Mind your manners, what a catch!
That'll make your SportsCenter top 10.
He took it off of Travis Hunter's hat.
Oh. So let's break down the 10 most unguardable offensive players in college football history and see who tried to stop them. Spoiler, they couldn't.
This is one of the reasons why he's gone for a touchdown. Barry Sanders, 33 yards.
Before we dive into the top 10, let's give a shout out to a few players who were almost unguardable but didn't quite make the cut. These guys came pretty close though, so don't get mad if you think they deserve a spot. Tyler Lockett from Kansas City State. This guy had a ridiculous ability to break away from defenders with his speed and route running. Sammy Watkins from Clemson. Before he went to the NFL, Watkins was a highlight machine. If only he had a few more seasons in college. Tavon Austin from West Virginia. His speed and quickness were something out of a video game. He could turn any play into a touchdown. Devontae Parker, Louisville. His combination of size and speed made him nearly impossible to cover, even if you had double coverage on him. But now, let's get to the real monsters, the players who turned defenses into turnstiles. Number 10, Chris Olave.
The Ohio State receiving record for receiving touchdowns. High character kid as well. Tons of experience. Came to Ohio State, made an immediate impact.
Olave didn't need to scream for attention. He simply went out there and let his game do the talking. A smooth route runner with an ability to make defenders look like they were stuck in molasses, Olave made it look easy. Whether it was a subtle move to get open or a ridiculous catch on the sideline, he was always just too good. Olave's 56-yard touchdown against Clemson in the 2021 Sugar Bowl is the perfect example of his unguardable nature. The ball was perfectly placed, but it was Olave's route that created separation and put the defenders out of position. Number 9, Tyreek Hill. Cheetah was the definition of unguardable. Hill's 2014 season at Oklahoma State might not be as remembered as some of the other legendary college football seasons, but don't let that fool you. His speed was otherworldly. He wasn't just fast in a straight line, he could stop and start on a dime, changing direction so quickly that defenders had no chance to stay with him. His combination of speed and agility made him an absolute mismatch for every defender who ever tried to cover him. He turned simple plays into highlight reel touchdowns, and it always seemed like you blinked and Hill was already in the end zone. Hill's 92-yard touchdown catch against Oklahoma in 2014 might be the best representation of his pure, unmatchable speed. He caught a simple slant route, and before you knew it, he was blowing past every defender. His acceleration and vision were on full display. Number 8, Lamar Jackson. Lamar is perhaps one of the most dynamic players to ever play the quarterback position in college football. He had a cannon for an arm and legs that could make any defender look foolish. Jackson's ability to break tackles, outrun defenders, and launch impossible throws was unlike anything college football had ever seen. He could win a game with his arm, his legs, or a combination of both.
To me, there's enough there that you can work with, use him in a package early in his career, and then try to develop him at the quarterback position.
Jackson's Heisman season was a masterpiece. His ability to scramble, avoid pressure, and make the defense pay for every mistake was just downright unguardable. Jackson's insane 2016 game against Florida State, where he passed for 216 yards and rushed for 162 yards, showed just how unguardable he could be. He made defenders miss left and right, leading to multiple touchdowns and a dominant victory. Number 7, Barry Sanders.
He's gone for a touchdown. Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders was an absolute revelation in college football. In 1988, he ran for over 2,600 yards and 37 touchdowns. And his ability to make defenders miss was nothing short of magical. It often seemed like Sanders was playing a different game than everyone else on the field because defenders just couldn't get their hands on him.
You don't want to play against this freshman back that they have named Barry Sanders. Well, I'd never heard of Barry Sanders. I said, we have a tough enough time with Thurman, but you won't ever touch this kid.
His moves were so sharp, so sudden, and so unpredictable that even the most skilled tacklers were left reaching for air. Sanders didn't seem to outrun defenders. He made them miss in the blink of an eye, turning what should have been an average run into an unforgettable highlight. Sanders' 1988 game against Nebraska, where he rushed for 189 yards in a single half, is legendary. The game exemplified his ability to make defenders miss with incredible agility. He turned what should have been average runs into highlight reel plays. Number 6, Bo Jackson. Jackson wasn't just a college football player. He was a force of nature. His combination of speed, strength, and raw athleticism was unmatched. On any given play, Jackson could run over a linebacker and outrun a cornerback, all while moving faster than almost anyone on the field. Defenders who tried to tackle Jackson often found themselves on the receiving end of a stiff arm that sent them flying. Jackson's career was legendary, not just because of his college stats, but because of the way he made the impossible look routine. His power and explosiveness made him one of the most unguardable players in the history of college football.
Bo Jackson was as good an athlete as the country has seen probably since Jim Thorpe. To me, he's the greatest athlete of the 20th century. There's not even an argument there.
Jackson's 1985 Iron Bowl, where he stiff-armed Alabama defenders and dashed down the sideline for a touchdown, has been replayed countless times. It was a prime example of his blend of power and speed that made him nearly impossible to stop. Number 5, Michael Vick. Michael Vick was a different breed. Vick didn't just win games, he dominated them. His electric running ability combined with a cannon for an arm made him the ultimate dual-threat quarterback. Defenders who had the misfortune of trying to contain him found themselves on their backsides more times than not. Vick was an absolute cheat code on the field, and you could never predict what he'd do next. Whether it was a perfect deep ball or jaw-dropping scramble, Vick was the kind of player who made defenders question their entire existence. The 2000 Sugar Bowl against Florida State, where Vick threw for 225 yards and rushed for 100, was an unforgettable display of his talent. His incredible scrambling ability and pinpoint throws left defenders scrambling for answers. Who is the most unguardable college football player in your eyes? A. Michael Vick, B. Randy Moss, C. Bo Jackson, or D. Barry Sanders. Number 4, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush wasn't just a running back, he was a magician. Bush's ability to make defenders miss with his agility and vision made him nearly impossible to stop. He turned every play into a potential highlight, and it always seemed like he was one move away from breaking a 50-yard touchdown.
Even as a 15-year-old, I remember people constantly, he's going to win the Heisman one day.
Bush's ability to bounce off tacklers, make defenders miss, and turn on the Jets at the perfect moment made him one of the most electrifying players in college football history. In the 2005 Rose Bowl, Bush helped lead USC to a national championship with a performance that had fans in absolute awe. His iconic 26-yard touchdown run in the game is one of the most memorable plays of all time. Number 3. Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith had the skill set that every cornerback wakes up with dripping night sweats over: speed, agility, and exceptional route running. His ability to make defenders miss in the open field, combined with his ability to make incredible catches, made him nearly impossible to cover.
Fires a beautiful throw.
What set Smith apart was his ability to get open, no matter the coverage. Whether it was double teams, safety help, or press coverage, Smith always found a way to shake loose. In the 2020 National Championship, Smith posted 12 catches for 215 yards and 3 touchdowns in a performance for the ages. This game is a prime example of his ability to dominate against top-tier defenses, despite his almost incomprehensible slight frame. Number 2. Vince Young. VY was the perfect blend of power and finesse. His arm was as strong as any quarterback's, but it was his legs that made him truly unguardable. Young could break tackles, elude pressure, and create magic with his feet in ways no one else could. Defenders had to make a choice: rush him and risk him throwing a laser downfield, or let him run and watch him break tackles for a touchdown. Young's 2005 Rose Bowl performance is the stuff of legends. He single-handedly carried Texas to a national championship with an unforgettable 200-yard rushing, 3-touchdown performance that left USC's defense grasping for answers. His Longhorn teammates called him a one-man wrecking crew that no team could stop or even contain. And the number 1 most unguardable player in college football history? Randy Moss.
Moss sprinting for the end zone. Got his bag. And he's got it. One for the record books, Randy Moss. And he threw it over at McDonald's.
When you're talking about Randy Moss, you're talking about a player who completely changed the game. Moss's size, speed, and leaping ability made him the ultimate unguardable player. If the ball was in the air, Moss was going to find a way to come down with it, no matter the defense.
This guy here changed the game in every aspect of changing the game. The week playing against Randy Moss, your defensive coordinators would go bald.
Moss could beat you with a deep route, with a jump ball, or with sheer athleticism. His 1997 season, where he caught 25 touchdowns and had over 1,400 yards, is legendary. And that's before we talk about the highlights where he made defenders look foolish trying to cover him. Moss's 80-yard touchdown catch against Western Kentucky, where he made a simple slant route look like a one-on-one dunk contest, is one of the most iconic plays of his career. His ability to dominate with both speed and leaping ability made this moment unforgettable.
It again, and it's a touchdown.
I put my pain in the cadence, turn my brain up.
Defense again, Devontae Smith.
I can't emphasize enough how fast this kid is.
To me, he's the greatest athlete of the 20th century. There's not even an argument there.
These 10 players represent the pinnacle of what it means to be unguardable in college football. They were more than just great athletes. They were game changers whose skills and playmaking abilities left defenses in the dust and forced coaches to lose sleep at night. From Chris Olave's precise routes and Vince Young's dual-threat dominance to Randy Moss's freakish athleticism, these players made college football feel like their personal highlight reel. What makes these players truly unguardable isn't just the jaw-dropping stats they put up, it's the way they made defenders feel hopeless. When you're going up against the likes of Tyreek Hill, who can turn a simple slant route into a 90-yard touchdown, or Barry Sanders, who can make 11 defenders miss in one run, you can't help but admire the kind of brilliance on display. They didn't just run the playbook, they rewrote it. These players elevated their programs and often single-handedly carried their teams to legendary seasons. You watch guys like Reggie Bush in the 2005 Rose Bowl and you realize there's no defending that kind of magic. It's not about stopping them. It's about hoping they'll slip up, something that rarely happened. For college football fans, watching these players in action was like witnessing history in real time. And while there have been some truly great players to follow in their footsteps, there's no denying that this list features the rarest of athletes. The kind that made you say, "I've never seen anything like that before," every time they took the field. So, here's to these unguardable legends whose impact on the game will never be forgotten. We can only hope to see more players like them in the future. What did you think of our list? Did we miss anyone? Care to argue your case for another top name? Comment below and see how yours compares.